Well, because you can't take hello. Hello's mine. You can't have it. Sorry, trademarked.
Got it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the news for the week of October 24th. My name is Maxi, and I'm taking the lead today, and that means that Del has a lot to live up to. Del, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Del. Is that good?
It's not as good as hello, I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, you told me you'd sue me if I used hello, so...
That is trademark infringement, and I will not have it. We've got a couple pretty cool articles to go through today, and we're going to start it off with a little bit of wholesome energy. A Minecraft charity stream has hit its $25,000 funding goal before it even started. In an effort to raise money for charity, a Minecraft streamer hit their donation goal for the stream before it even began. The stream was being hosted. It was to raise money for the Gamers Outreach Foundation.
Heck yeah.
And even with the goal met, the stream went on as planned. What was not planned was the amount of money that ended up being raised for this charity, especially at such a quick rate. The foundation itself supports hospitalized children by providing them access to video games so they can focus on their well-being and play.
Yeah, we did a thing with them briefly at one point, and it was as simple as like just bringing a bunch of games we had to the foundation when they were at a hospital, and it was really awesome. They like give consoles and game systems and all this stuff to kids that are like with terminally ill issues and stuff in hospitals. They work with St. Jude too. There's been a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, exactly. They're a fantastic group. And so popular Minecraft streamer Good Times with Scar streamed the event on his channel, and before he'd even clicked go live, they'd already hit their $25,000 target. He then tweeted afterwards to thank everyone who supported the cause. This isn't really like a
good article. It's awesome.
It's just a feel-good article. And look, it's nice to know that gaming charities exist outside of AGDQ. Like, I like AGDQ and Summer Games Done Quick and all that kind of stuff.
I love those.
I think they do awesome work, but it is nice to see that there are other avenues for gamers to be giving to charity. And he described himself as being really shocked, and he gets visibly emotional in the video. That before the stream even officially began, over $30,000 had actually been raised.
His total that he raised was crazy though, as a single person.
So he ended up raising over 400K in just a few hours, which when you think about it,
them's his Markiplier numbers, dude. Them's his Markiplier charity numbers.
When you look at charity streams that are similar, you look at things like AGDQ, SGDQ. As an example, 2022 Summer Games Done Quick raised $3 million for charity over 5 days, and he raised $400,000 in just a few hours.
Honestly, man, if there's any one game on the internet, like community-wise, that keeps just doing crazy crap, it's always Minecraft. It seems like whenever you hear anything about Minecraft, it's always charity events, big public things, you know, supporting individual causes. It's always these massive community servers, like growing these huge things to make people feel better and fight depression and all that. And honestly, I don't think there's any other game that consistently does stuff like this as far as community big fundraisers go. So honestly, I'm happy for it. It's a great deal of money. And now Maxi's going to talk about Disco Elysium.
Nah, Disco Elysium writer is suing developer Zaum. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's
such
just
a weird name. I'm calling him Zaum. Robert Kurvitz filed a suit on behalf of his own company. Oh, see, this is what I mean. Taloma. Like, what is that?
It's a you with a happy face, dude. Look at that.
It's just a big old smile.
It's not an umlaut.
No smiles in this
I know what an
article,
umlaut is. Maybe it is an umlaut. I don't know.
Earlier this month, Martin Luiga, who is the studio's Zaum founding member and developer on one of PC Gamer's all-time favorites, Disco Elysium, PC Gamer being the writers of this particular article, has announced the dissolution the dissolution of Zaum Cultural Association. He said that the company, as a cultural project, no longer represents the ethos it was founded on, adding that artist Alexander Rostov and writers Helen Hindper and Robert Kurvitz left involuntarily. In a follow-up interview, Luiga said that the three were fired on false pretenses, implying that legal action against Zaum was incoming.
Do you think the success went to their heads? Like the people who were on this company? Because this game blew up, dude.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know,
is one of those games everybody tells me to play it.
Everybody tells me to play it too. And everything I always hear is like people comparing things to it and talking about how it was so far out of there and it was such a unique experience. I wonder if a lot of this was just like they grew way too big for their britches and now people are fighting.
Yeah, so apparently Luida is subject to an NDA, so it means he can't talk about certain stuff. But he was quoted as saying that he was super worried and that he's not disclosing all information that he has. And there's also information that he doesn't have. And I'm rather sure that we will not have the full picture before the final judgment. So apparently a bunch of people who were really heavily involved in the writing and story creation for Disco Elysium were terminated under false pretenses, which sucks. That sucks for
Absolutely.
anybody, especially for a game that very often is quoted as being one of the top 100 PC games that you can play. Even PC Gamer themselves has been quoted as saying it's the best game you can get on PC.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just a bid for them to take over the company because it was so successful, and maybe somebody with majority control is just pushing everybody else out. And that's usually what happens when it's like involuntary leaving. That's pretty much just code for someone taking over the company and pushing everyone away. And so I'm curious if that's what's happening, but we won't be able to know because, like you said, NDA.
Sadly, we don't have any facts, and that's the downside about this story is that a lot of it's just hearsay. A lot of it's one person saying, "Oh, this has happened," and rah rah. But apparently, Luiga has been very cheekily posting on Twitter stories that have been posted by news articles, kind of hinting towards the fact that he's agreeing with that particular article. And a lot of these articles are saying how these people were terminated unfairly or unjustly and that they're pursuing legal action. So
well, I want to know more though. I want to know more before I like rend judgment on what's happening because
dude, you want to know more? Apparently Zaum issued the following statement after news of the departures first broke. They were quoted as saying, like any video game, the development of Disco Elysium was and still is a collective effort, with every team member's contribution essential and valued as a part of a greater whole. At this time, we have no further comment to make other than that the Zaum creative team's focus remains on the development of our next project, and we are excited to share more news on this with you all soon. The studio has told us it won't be saying anything further on the matter. If this does end up in court, though, you know, could expect a little bit of drama. I mean, I don't think it's going to be Johnny Depp, Amber Heard levels. I don't think Asmongold's going to be breaking it down every other day, but, you know, could be a big one.
Following that story and something that is very fresh as of recording this, a massive allegation has rocked Creative Assembly. And Creative Assembly, for those of you that don't know, are the ones responsible for the Total War series, like Total War Warhammer, Troy, Rome, all those games. Essentially, they put out a massive statement on Twitter saying that we have been made aware of deeply concerning and serious allegations regarding a former Creative Assembly employee. We recognize how important and often difficult it is for individuals to speak up about these experiences, and we welcome those who feel able to do so. We are dedicated to providing a safe and inclusive environment for our people and ensuring they are heard. It is clear we need to do better. We're investigating this matter fully through an external party to understand what happened. And so what that means is they've essentially brought in another company or another like service to investigate this so that you can't claim bias in that regard. Obviously, I just want to set this out as a personal anecdote here. I've worked a lot with Creative Assembly. I've known a lot of the people that are unrelated to the individual who is being accused of doing this stuff, a lot of their community managers and people who genuinely care about this stuff. And Creative Assembly has good people in charge. I like the fact that they are out here in front and directly addressing it. They're not hiding. They're not trying to sweep it under the rug like Activision Blizzard did. They're not shaming their employees. They're not outright denying it. They are straight up going, this is bad. We are so sorry. We're going to get to the bottom with this and deal with it. Now, it is worth mentioning that they've had this accusation thrown about before in less of a formal capacity. And honestly, it's just, like Maxie said in the last article, it just seems like every single week, man, every single month, there's another huge abuse allegation for another company. And it's just, it just tells me that there's just crappy people in the worst positions they could be in to take advantage of people. What do you think about this?
Look, what I don't know what's in the water at developers, like video game developers. Is it just because they're a bunch of nerds who don't know how to act? Like, is that what it is? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But hugely proud of Creative Assembly as a business or as a company. Like you said, getting out in front of it and posting and being like, hey, we need to do better. It's clear that we need to do better. And that's really good to hear. And hopefully if the Creative Assembly employees feel heard and feel like, it's a place that they still want to continue working at, because Sometimes there have been some companies that we have seen that have had situations like this arise and have been like, oh, well, we don't have all the facts. You know what I mean? And that's shitty sometimes. So, yeah.
Yeah, and this is specifically targeting Baj Singh is the person who's being accused of this with systemic bullying and harassment and even sexual harassment allegations. So we'll have to see how this develops and wait for more people to come forward and the details to come out after the investigation, obviously.
That's right. And guess what, dude? I'm the editor, so expect a fucking absolutely massive fuck Baj Singh to appear on the screen out of nowhere, but...
Yeah, obviously that too. But it is one of the things that they did open is Creative Assembly opened up a Twitter circle replies only to people who have experienced this or worked for the company. And it looks like they added all of their former and current employees to this circle so that people can reply and report this stuff directly in a private sense if they want, as well as
they've also set up a whistleblowing email account as well.
They set up a whistleblowing email account, and seriously, like the way that they're handling this is compared to every other company that we've seen get this accusation. The way Creative is handling it is the best possible way to handle it. They're not downplaying it. They're not stepping on people. They're not making people like turning people victims into perpetrators. I'm glad to see this. It sucks that it happens, and I hope to God, whoever was involved in this gets punished for it, specifically Baj. And I hope that the victims and people come forward and are actually compensated and helped out in this situation, because it's just not good, man. And I hope this sets a precedent for how this sort of stuff is to be handled. It should never happen in the first place. Obviously, like that's the truest form of it. But when it is caught, it's nice to see it actually going through due process and dealt with rather than ignored.
Exactly. The Last of Us 2 actor Laura Bailey, who played Abby, wants to play the character again. She played the controversial character Abby in The Last of Us Part 2 and has announced via Twitter and an interview that she wants to reprise her role as Abby from The Last of Us 2. Abby has kind of proven to be one of the most controversial characters from The Last of Us 2, with some fans of the first game taking issue with how her character was handled. Others, however, the intelligent of us, were impressed with Abby's character arc, particularly Laura Bailey's portrayal of the character, which managed to win multiple awards. Isn't that crazy that apparently she was so bad, but she won so many awards? But yeah, so, Del, what do you think about this? Does this make you excited?
First of all, let's just say that the Game Awards are rigged as fuck, and they're not actually voted on in a lot of those cases in the right way. So I'm going to say that straight up, because the argument is that, it's an average across multiple critics and stuff. We checked, and this game was lower than a bunch of other games in an average of meta scores across things. So this should not have won Game of the Year, first of all. And I just want to go on the record.
Hang on. Sorry, do you want to take a second? Do you want to put the aluminum foil hat on now, or do you want to wait for after?
I'm going to wear my hat as a pirate hat. Thank you very much. But it's true though, dude. It didn't deserve what it got. And the fact that the audience pulled at like 41% for Last of Us versus like 60% for other options. It shouldn't have gotten it should not have gotten Game of the Year. Was it a good game? Yes. Was it Game of the Year? No. I don't think it was Game of the Year.
All right, I want to ask the audience something. I'm doing my comment prompt now, even though we've got another story to do after this one. All right. In the next couple of weeks, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you guys are going to get a video on this channel called A Civil Conversation about Cyberpunk, which is fucking hilarious.
It's a hilarious video, yeah.
It's funny as the video itself is basically myself, Godfoot, and Dell and Godfoot's roommate Spence arguing while Dell in the background giggles to himself as we argue about whether or not Cyberpunk 2077 is a good game.
It was specifically about it being a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, Godfoot saying that it is a 7 out of 10 game, and me very much saying that it is not. And we have this big argument about it, and it's very emotional and all that, and very loud, and it's just funny. It's just funny, the stuff that gets said. So we're gonna release that video. I'm currently editing that video right now. I want you guys to keep this conversation we're having in mind, because Dal and I have very differing views, because I personally think that The Last of Us Part 2 is brilliant. I think it's one of the best games on the PlayStation. Will you guys want to see more stuff like that, where it's just kind of like an open-ended discussion about maybe gaming topics that have very harsh and differing opinions, like, is Cyberpunk a good game, and did Last of Us 2 deserve Game of the Year, and all that kind of stuff. And if so, if you do want to see that kind of stuff, can you guys kind of give me a couple prompts? Like, what's some controversial gaming opinions that you have? Because if we have differing opinions, it might be fun to talk about. So,
and let me
do
know
you guys
in the
want
comments.
to see that stuff?
Yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you thought Ghost of Tsushima was better than Last of Us 2. And finally, for the news this week, we want to talk about the fact that Diablo 4, we mentioned this a while back when we talked about leaks already. It was previous leaks, not specifically this leak. So there's been a lot of leaks. Diablo 4's in-game beta asked testers not to leak it, so they immediately leaked it. I'm talking like 20 minutes after it was live for people to do it in game, it got leaked. And it's like, you know, what's like PC Gamer says, what's the old saying? 3 may keep an NDA if 2 of them are dead. It's been proved right. Okay, so I want to say I understand where these people are coming from, but people who break NDAs ruin it for everyone. And honestly, like, shame on the people that broke the NDA, but it just seems like Blizzard just can't really catch a break, right? I feel like they kind of did this to themselves, I have to be honest, with the way Diablo Immortal went. And then everyone also being super concerned that Diablo 4's endgame is going to be a super grindy grind fest where you have to pay money to speed it up, or it's just going to be like super terrible. And so obviously I get where the people who leak this stuff came from and why they're trying to get that information out there and being like, oh yeah, here it is. It's actually super grindy, blah, blah, blah. It's this, it's that, it's this. But yeah, when you sign an NDA, don't break an NDA. They could sue you. They can like basically burn you to the ground if they want to. Maxie, what do you think about this?
I think it's fucking hilarious.
It is funny. I will say that.
I think it's so funny.
This speed.
It's like, I just pictured like a one-on-one. So it's like developer head in a room with just like some young guy, right? And they're just sitting there. And the developer goes, all right, I'm going to give you access to the Diablo 4 endgame. The only thing I ask of you is that you don't give it to anyone. And the guy's like, uh-huh. And he's like reading through the contract and taking photos. And the guy's like, what are you doing? And he's like, just taking photos. And it's like, well, you can't send them to him. He's like, I'm not gonna. And it's like, all right, because you can't leak this. Seriously? Well, what are you doing now? It's like, just posting a Facebook status. What do you mean? Posting a Facebook status about what? Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's got nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just... it's so funny.
It's so weird that they trusted too. Like, that's the craziest part is there were huge leaks already from the base game, right? Because like there was 40 minutes of gameplay that got leaked last month or 2 months ago or something. And we watched it. We didn't put it anywhere, but obviously you watch this stuff when it gets posted. And so for Blizzard to be like, okay, this is really bad that this happened. Obviously these people can't be trusted. The most important part of our game development is the end game. We have to protect this. Hey, you random guys, you want this beta? Just promise don't leak it. Don't leak it. Hey.
The people they gave the access to as well, they've said themselves, were just people with significant amount of time playing the endgame experiences of Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and Diablo Immortal, which again is so funny. You didn't even like give it to content creators who are like used to this kind of stuff. You just gave it to rands, like just random dudes who played your game a lot, who had a lot of hours. That's it. That's who you trusted with the beta. That's terrifying. Like, whoever made that.
I also want to say that I applied for the beta and they denied me.
Well, because you know what, dude? Because you don't have significant amounts of time playing the endgame experiences of Diablo.
That's true. I didn't spend $145,000 on Diablo Immortal. Hey, but at least on the other hand, it does seem like a lot of the takes are positive. So that's good. You know, I'm still worried. I don't believe that everything that's in the beta that would make people freak out is actually in the beta. Maybe they knew like, crap, this is going to get leaked no matter what. And they pulled all that nasty stuff out, like the boosters and everything, because they've done that in the past too. But you know, the gameplay though, people are like, hey, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So we obviously can't show any of that because I'm afraid of legal stuff. But yeah, hey, you know, this just goes to show maybe don't just point at people on the street for NDAs in the future if you're a game company, and maybe curate those that get access.
Yeah, do that. What he said.
But anyway, that's going to be it for the news. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know everything that you thought and your own opinions down below in the comments. Max has already prompted you this week to talk about The Last of Us versus Ghost of Tsushima and everything for the game of the year.
Let us know if you guys want to see videos like that where we discuss kind of controversial gaming opinions or have gaming debates about stuff. And if so, chuck some subjects in so we can kind of document them and maybe start recording some stuff soon.
Yeah, and until the next video, I suppose the only thing to say is this is Delrith and Maxie, and we'll be seeing you. Bye.